What can we make of James Harden's first day of training camp?
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hello, my name is Keith Pompey. I'm the host of Locked On 76ers podcast. And I asked a question in the intro: what can we make of James Harden's first day at training camp? As a lot of you know, James Harden ended his holdout yesterday being Wednesday, and he showed up at training camp. And actually, from what all accounts, now again, I wasn't in the gym, but none of the media were outside of the team media, meaning like, the team reporter who works for the 76ers. But all accounts is that James was a model teammate. He worked hard. He participated in the majority of the practice. Before practice, right before, he had a conversation with new Sixers head coach Nick Nurse. And, he did everything they asked of him. So the question is, what do we make of this? Because let's be real. Everyone thought that James was going to come out there and be disruptive. He was going to make things extremely comfortable for the 76ers. He was going to do it in a way to where they would basically be forced to move him, because he was going to disrupt the team culture, the team chemistry, and do everything. It was going to be his great exit strategy, right? The thing is, honestly, it's too early to say what can we make of this. Now, again, great things happen. And, Nick Nurse said some quality things about James. So did Tobias, asked if the expectation is for Harden to continue participating in practices moving forward. Nick said he thinks so. And this is what the coach said. Yeah, he's here. He knows the schedule, and we expect him to be here now. I think we can wait and see on all that stuff. But then you come back with, but is there every indication that he will remain with the team until the situation is resolved? And Nick Nurse responds, every indication is that he's here. Yeah. And the situation is, let's face it, we know James wants to be traded. James would prefer to be traded to the Los Angeles Clippers. I mean, right? He wants to go and he wants to play for his hometown Clippers, right? Now, but does that mean that he won't go to another contending team? Probably. I mean, he'll go. Probably not. He'll probably go. But the thing is, when you look at it, and you got to be real with yourself. Now, if the Sixers really want to trade him, if they want James's value to go up, he can't come in the training camp and go straight scorched earth, right? He can't do that. Because when you look at James, you think and you remember didn't he do this a couple years ago in Houston? He did it with the Rockets, right? He went scorched earth. He didn't show up. He showed up late for training camp, and that didn't end well. And then he goes to Brooklyn, and he wants out of Brooklyn, right? And that's how he ends up in Philly, right? But yesterday, The Sixers social media account, posted a picture of him high-fiving assistant coach Rico Hines as another assistant reached out to shake his hand. And when you talk to Tobias Harris says his participation, in my opinion, is addressing that he's here. And when Tobias said that, he was saying that, talking about like, yo, he didn't have to talk to the teammates. Like his participation basically addresses that he's here, right? He said his attitude and his energy allowed everyone to understand that he wants to go out here and compete with us and get stuff done. So there was a lot of things that people said. And then Tobias also added that everybody in here understands the business of it as well. He's not in here disrespecting any of his teammates in any type of fashion. So at the end of the day, we are out here to play basketball and do our job, represent the city, and help bring a championship to Philadelphia. So, my thing, how it goes is, I think that at least for the time being now, some people will say that it's one of those things where it can go hour to hour, day to day. No one knows. But me, I think that he'll be locked in for at least the immediate future. But I also believe that it's going to be a situation where if stuff isn't quickly resolved, then we got to pay attention. I mean, we do. Like, do I think that this is all this kumbaya and everything is going to be great? No, I don't think that at all. Not the least bit. Do I also think that Nick Nurse was saying some things because you got to say them? Yeah. Do I think Nick Nurse likes James, has respect for James? Do I think his teammates do too? Yeah. I mean, I think more so than anything, this is a James and Daryl Morey issue, right? That's what I think it is. But I think that it could become an issue that impacts the team, right? So, those are things that they're going to have to think about and deal with. And as much as we say it's not as much as people say it wasn't a distraction yesterday, to me, it makes me still think that it's still a tough situation on everyone. And the reason why it's a tough situation is because you got to you got to know if he's going to be here or if he's going to leave. So if you have him in on certain situations, then what happens to the day that he doesn't show? Or if he's not here, and then what happens to the day that when he shows back? I feel like, training camps in the NBA preseasons are not as long as they used to be. They're not. But with that being, so the time that you get, the time that you put in on the practice court, it's kind of like you want to, have great practices. You want to know what direction you're heading in. So, that's just my 2 cents on the whole situation. And, we'll see, what transpires moving forward. But, at the same time, this is something that you got to just keep your eye open to, keep your eyes on, because this is, I don't think that everything is as pie in the sky as people want you to think it is right about now. I would say that to you, right? But let's talk about Bird Dog, right? Bird Dog makes you look good. Bird Dog stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a true sculpted look. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made off of stiff, restricting cotton, right? So, what you need to do is you need to go to birddogs.com, locked on NBA, or enter the promo code locked on NBA at checkout for a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. That's birddogs.com slash locked on NBA for a free water bottle at checkout. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you. They are, I like my bird dogs. They're pretty comfortable. I'm here in Colorado, so I can't like lift them up and show you, but there's something that I really appreciate. And I wish that this is a brand that would have been out years ago. Well, so you talk about moving forward with the James situation, right? We also say that this is a James and Daryl situation that went awry. And to me, at the end of the day, the whole thing is sad. I mean, when you think of it, because when you look at, when you think of Daryl Morey, the next person I think of is James Harden. I do. Because, when you have a Daryl Morey, he, he was, you think more, even more so of with him being in the Sixers. Like this is going to be his third season with the Sixers, right? Or fourth season with the Sixers, right? You look at it and you say to yourself, you're like, well, when you talk about him, there's always his Houston Rockets days. The stuff that he did with the Sixers is, just it's okay. It's kind of like, I hate to say it, but it's kind of like when you think of Michael Jordan, you think of Michael Jordan with the Bulls. You don't think of Michael Jordan with the Wizards. You don't. You think of Michael Jordan with the Bulls. So when you think of Daryl Morey, you think of all the fun the excitement that franchise had because of James Harden. Daryl Morey traded for James, and then a star was born. And then Daryl Morey got like a lot of respect, a lot of hype off of that trade, right? So when you see that these two guys who used to be tied at the hip are beefing, is sad, right? It's sad. And the thing is, you want to know what's really going on, because what happens is you have two sides of the story. You get certain people saying, okay, well, Daryl lied. He has James, one of the greatest players of all time. James and him are so close. So for James to say that he lied, it must have been really something bad, right? It had to be something bad, or it had to be something that that he would say that because, when you look at it, because of their friendship, James was able to do whatever he wanted. James was the man. Now, if Tobias Harris says it, if Joel Embiid says it, Tyrese Maxey says it, you look at him like, But the fact that James and Daryl go back is crazy. But then you also have other people saying, look at Dame, look at James. He's not appreciative. Daryl gave him all this money. Daryl did this, Daryl did that for him. But yet and still, he's coming out. He's calling this guy a liar. He's disrespecting him. It's kind of sort of like, how do you say, how are you going to bite the hand that fed you, right? So, it's a lot, man, to uncourt. But at the end of the day, it's like one of those things that you think and you hope that one day that they could resolve this, because it's bad. And, I think that, to be honest with you, both of them, it makes both of them look bad because you're going to believe what you want to believe. You're going to say, some people are going to say James isn't right. And then there are going to be other people that say that James is spoiled. They're going to bring up his past. They're going to bring up the fact that he tried to get, well, he not tried, he did. He forced his way out of his situation with the Rockets and with the Brooklyn Nets. And you look at it and you say, wow, maybe he's no longer, a commodity. But yet and still, he wants to act like one. Oh, or yeah, he averaged 10.7 assists last year. He should have been an all-star. But now you're looking at him and saying, well, he's 34 years old and he lost a step. So it's crazy. Then you have people looking at Daryl saying, how dare you do this to James when let's be real, like James is your top athlete that you ever had, and some people might say, hey, why you turned your back on him? You did him dirty. It's all about the numbers. It's not about relationships. You if you're going to do James dirty, how are you going to treat me? So it's a lot, man. It's a lot to uncork. And you just hope that, I don't think that it'll be able to get resolved, but you just hope that this is something that, I don't know. It's just a sad situation because at the end of the day, I don't think that James and Daryl's relationship will ever be the same. You hope that it will, but at the end of the day, I don't think it ever will be the same. I just don't. I want to talk to y'all about FanDuel, right? Stop into action with the NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Visit FanDuel.com and include your money lines, props, etc. around your team. Now, today is going to be interesting. Thursday, we're going to find out. We're going to see if a second day, and you're going to see what James can do. Also, the bad thing about the James situation, I think, is that, that's the main storyline. That's all everyone wants to know, right? But I really want to know who's right now the best starting lineup for them. Like, of course, you're going to have one with James. You're going to have one without James. But what about the rotation? Like, who are some of the guys who are battling for spots? So that's the thing. Like, you hear a lot about Jaden Springer has been impressive. We all know, we all get the Paul Reed stuff. You also see that could be a great, I ain't gonna call him a breakout year, but I think it could be a throwback year for Tobias. And what I mean by that is because when Tobias came here, he was coming off of being the man with the Clippers. So I feel like that there's going to be more balance, and that's going to open things up for him. Paul Reed, we talked about this before. He's going to be a versatile big, so to speak. He could play the 4, he could play the 5. So what about D House? How's he going to do? Can Danny Green make this roster? Kelly Oubre, how's that going to fit in? And another thing, pay attention to if James sticks around, him and Kelly don't exactly get along. So There's a lot of things, man. It's a lot of storylines, a lot of good storylines. So we'll see. But hey, I want to thank y'all for listening. I want y'all to have a blessed day, and I'll be back tomorrow. Peace.